Hi class, in this video I am going to go over the syllabus as well as provide a brief guide on how to navigate the course. So the first thing that you want to do is obviously whenever you are on the home page is you want to go ahead and look at the syllabus. So in order to look at the syllabus, one of the things that you want to take into consideration is that you have two options. One is to just go ahead and click on the magnifying glass, and that will provide a file preview. So you can basically go ahead and look over the syllabus fairly quickly without actually downloading it. However, if you want to download the syllabus, you will have to go ahead and click here, and it will download onto your computer, and then you can go ahead and open it. I think this is the easiest and most convenient as well as the fastest way to access the syllabus. If you go to files, yes, you will find the syllabus there as well, but you will have to scroll down and look through all the files. So the easiest way to access the syllabus is through the home page. So once you actually go to the syllabus, you will go ahead and find important information. Obviously, we have our course information up here, and then we also have my contact information. So the easiest way to contact me is through my email address, natalie@nmsu.edu, or you can go ahead and email me through Canvas email as well. Those are the quickest ways to contact me. Now, of course, I also have an office phone number that you can call if you would like to speak to me. However, as you can see by my office hours, I am only at my office on Tuesdays. I do not live in Las Cruces. I live in the El Paso area, so I do not go to my office every single day. However, if you call my office and you leave a voicemail, that voicemail will get emailed to me and I will be able to listen to it and call you back as soon as possible. So please make sure that you leave a voicemail, because if you don't, the caller ID on my office phone will just show a number, but it won't show a name, so I don't know who's calling or for what reason. So if you would like to speak to me, if you would like to maybe get a hold of me or ask me questions, you can go ahead and call my office phone, and then I will go ahead and call you back. Now, I know that for a lot of you, especially with an online class, a lot of people sometimes don't live in town. They live out of town. So sometimes it's difficult for you to come to my office hours. But for those of you who are in town, these are my office hours right here. So I do teach at 3 different campuses, so I am all over the place. So Mondays, I am at the Solon Park Academic Readiness Center. On Wednesdays, I am at the Gadsden Center, and Tuesdays, I am at the Espina campus from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, obviously, I have classes after my office hours, so please, if you want to visit me, make sure you don't show up like at 2:44, because on Mondays and Wednesdays I go from the Solon Park campus to the Gadsden campus. So obviously if you show up at 2:44, I'll probably be getting ready to leave and we won't have a lot of time to talk. So make sure that you show up within a sufficient time frame to ask me questions, or if you want to discuss an assignment, make sure that you show up with enough time so that we can discuss it. Also, I do want to point out that if these times do not work for you, then we can always try to schedule another appointment. We can always try to meet some other time. I know for a lot of people, sometimes they work during the day, so after 5 is typically when it works for them. However, typically office hours are between 8 to 5, so if that doesn't work for you, then obviously we can try to schedule something after 5 p.m. But, just keep in mind that I have classes and you have classes, so, you know, we can just, if you want to meet but these times don't work out, we can discuss it through email and we could find a time. And also keep in mind that you don't have to make an appointment to visit my office hours. You can just show up, ask me a quick question, and then you can leave. So it's not like you have to go and stay there for like an hour and talk to me. No. If you want to talk to me, if you have a lot of questions, and obviously we can spend a long time discussing those questions, but if you have a quick question or just a quick concern you want to address, we can also go ahead and deal with that during my office hours or through email. So I really do stress the communication aspect. There's 3 ways to communicate with me: email, in person, and through phone. And I really stress that because, especially with an online class, it's very important that you communicate with me if something is going on. I have a lot of students who sometimes they don't participate or they don't log in for like 3 months, and then they tell me, "Oh, well, I was getting a divorce and, you know, I couldn't log in or whatever, or I had to move." And I tell them, you should have told me when it happened. That way we could have tried to work something out. So communication is very, very important. Moving on, obviously, to take English 111, you should have placed here or you should have taken CCD 110. So hopefully all of you meet the prerequisites. If not, of course, you will be removed from the course. Our textbooks are online and they're completely free. So you can actually go ahead and click here and you can go to and this will take you to the PDF file of each textbook. We have 2 textbooks, volume 1 and volume 2. And they are also linked on our Canvas page, which I will show you a little bit later. Here we have the learning outcomes, which you can go ahead and read on your own. By the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that we will have a quiz over the syllabus, so it's very important that you go over it and you actually read it carefully. I like to give a quiz over the syllabus because I feel it's important for you to read it so that you know what the course is about. So to pass English 111, you do need a C or better. A D is not considered passing, so in the event that you get a D, you would have to take it again. And of course, this class is completely online, so that is the method of instruction. Here we have the assignments. If you look at the assignments, we're going to have 3 essays: the classical argument essay, the proposal, and the ad analysis. We're also going to have a common assessment that the English department assigns to every single English class, and this is going to deal with alternative perspectives. The department is still working out the assessment process and the assignment. So once that is given to us instructors, I'll go ahead and I'll post it and I'll give you instructions, but that's coming up in April. So at the end of March, it's due in early April, so you don't have to worry about that right now. We're also going to have 8 writing exercises as well as 10 discussion questions. Quizzes, we have 7 quizzes that equal 60 points. We are going to have an APA pre-quiz that's worth 20, an APA exam, and portfolio is worth 150 points. Attendance and participation is worth 15 points. So basically the way that you can get participation attendance is by logging in. As I mentioned later on in the syllabus, physical attendance is mandatory, and for an online class that means that you're logging in weekly. So that's what we mean by attendance. This equals a total of 815 points. So however many points you accumulate at the end of the semester, I will go ahead and add those up and divide them by 815, which is the total points that you can accumulate. Now, in order to pass the course, there are some things that you need to do. Obviously, you need to attend. You need to complete pretty much all of the essay assignments because those are worth 100 points, and if you miss one, that drops your grade by 2 letter grades. So like let's say you have an A and you miss an essay, that could bring you down to like a C. If you have a B, it brings it down to a D. So obviously you want to submit all major assignments. You also have to submit a portfolio. So in order to pass the class, you do need to submit a portfolio, and you also need to pass a documentation exam. And we'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to that in the syllabus. So obviously the essays, here we go. We have 3 essays, and they are going to be written in APA style, which is something that we're going to learn about and we're going to discuss. There is also an APA module as well. So you can go ahead and look at that for reference. And each essay has specific instructions, so go ahead and read the instructions for each essay when it's assigned. I don't provide the instructions on the syllabus, but each assignment on Canvas has very detailed instructions. And I also have a video with each instruction for each assignment, so make sure that you watch the video as well, because in the video I explain the instructions. Then we have 8 writing exercises. The writing exercise consists of mostly like a one-page response or like a one-page, you know, reader response or a one-page analysis of an article or something like that. So the writing exercises are typically one page, double spaced. Sometimes I'll provide a handout, so the writing exercise is a handout that you need to complete. So those are due on Sundays. So make sure that you plan throughout the week to submit the writing exercises on Sundays. And the writing exercises, they typically focus on a topic that we're discussing for that week, and they serve as practice for whatever topic we are discussing during that week. We're also going to have 10 discussion questions. So for the discussion questions, what you need to do is you need to go ahead and respond to the question that I pose in a well thought out discussion post. This discussion post should use proper language, um, proper punctuation, proper grammar, because we are in an academic setting. So you want to go ahead and make sure that you express yourself in a respectful manner. And also, it's very important that you adhere to the due date, so to speak. Your first response, which is the one where you respond to the question I'm asking, to the original post, is due by Thursday. And the reason I do that is so that everybody has someone that they can reply to. Because in order to receive full credit, you also have to respond to one other classmate. And your response to your classmate has to be submitted by Saturday. Okay? So basically, the way the discussions work is your first post, which is replying to the original post, is due by Thursdays. The response to your classmate is due by Saturdays. So you want to make sure, like I said, that you submit your first post by Thursday, because sometimes I have students who want to finish their discussion posts or their discussion assignment early, but they have no one to respond to because people are waiting till Saturday at 11:58 to submit the assignment or the discussion post. So in order to avoid that, I have the first post due by Thursday. Now, I have students who submit both posts Saturday night at 11:50 p.m. They still get credit for the post, so let's say they did a really good job, they still get 10 out of 10, but I go and I take off a point off of their participation grade. And the reason for that is because technically they didn't participate in the discussion throughout the week. All they did was submit 2 discussion posts at 11:50 p.m. on a Saturday. So, like I said, if you submit your 2 responses on Saturday, I'll still give you credit for the discussion post, but your participation grade is going to suffer. So make sure you remember first post is due by Thursday, and that's where you respond to the post, the original post that I wrote, and then your second response has to be to a classmate. And both have to be well thought out. So don't just say, "Hi, I agree with you." Tell us why you agree with that person. Next, we have the quizzes. The quizzes are fairly short and they are typically over a reading or over a module. So you want to make sure that you have read the module first or that you have looked at the handouts first before you start the quiz. The quizzes can only be taken once, so make sure you're ready to start. I always have students who tell me, "I started the quiz before I was ready. Is there any way that I can add it again?" And for those of you who are kind of familiar with Canvas, it's not always the easiest when it comes to quizzes. So if I open a quiz for you, it opens it up for everybody. So again, if the quiz is still open, I could go ahead and give you an extra attempt if you accidentally open the quiz. But if the quiz has closed, I can't because the quiz has closed. So make sure that you don't start the quiz until you're ready. And also make sure that you submit all quizzes on Saturdays, by Saturdays. That's when quizzes are due. When it comes to the classroom management, of course, make sure that everything you submit is due on time, is submitted on time. I don't accept late work unless, of course, there are circumstances beyond your control, like an emergency or something like that. However, please keep in mind that I also have to follow DACC guidelines and I have to be fair to other students. So something like you having to work late or internet connection problems, computer malfunctions, those don't really count as excused absences because you could have avoided them by planning ahead. So just make sure that you try to prepare and plan ahead in case your Wi-Fi goes out or your computer malfunctions. Try to have things done earlier rather than later because it is an online class, so I can't excuse late assignments just because your Wi-Fi wasn't working or things like that. If it happens once, obviously I understand that it might be out of the ordinary. But if it keeps happening a lot, obviously I can't keep accepting assignments. But like I said, if you have some sort of emergency or situation that's going on, email me or call me or go to my office hours and tell me, and maybe we can try to work something out within reason. And also, whatever we work out has to follow DACC guidelines as well. But please go ahead and contact me if you do have any issues that arise or that prevent you from submitting your work. As far as the attendance and late work policy, like I said, physical attendance is mandatory, so you need to make sure that you log in weekly. Also, you want to make sure that you participate in the discussions. Um, if I don't see that you're logging in during the first 2 weeks, I do have the choice to withdraw you, but after those 2 weeks, it is your responsibility. So please make sure that you withdraw, because if you don't withdraw, the grade will result in an F because you haven't been active. Also, make sure that you're respectful to all of your classmates and me at all times. Make sure that you stick to the discussion post into the course. Make sure that you do not bring up unnecessary information when you're typing your discussion post. Just make sure that you are respectful in the way that you interact with people. It is an English class, so sometimes we do deal with topics that are argumentative by nature. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have different opinions. We welcome different opinions. We welcome different perspectives. In writing, argumentative writing, we need an opposition and a rebuttal. So obviously all of us have different viewpoints, but it's just a matter of being respectful in how we respond to that. So this brings us back to the documentation exam. So for the documentation exam, you will be tested on your APA skills. And I know this sounds really scary, but you don't have to take this exam until the end of the semester. So by that point, you will already have learned APA. And you will be tested on citing sources in text and in the reference page. And in order to pass this test, you need a 70 or higher. Also, whenever it comes to the end of the semester, we do not have a final exam. However, we do have a portfolio. So that portfolio is going to consist of 3 things: a cover letter, a public service announcement poster, and a revised essay. Here we have some important dates. However, what you want to mostly focus on is you want to focus on the last day to withdraw, which is February 7th. You also want to look at, well, February 7th is the last day to withdraw with 100% refund. The last day to withdraw from a single course with a W is March 19th. So you want to look at all of those dates. You also want to look at our holidays. Spring break is not until March 23rd. And then here we have the schedule. So if you look at the schedule, here we have, I divided it up by weeks. So whenever it comes to each week, it tells you what you have to read. For example, you have to read the syllabus and introduction, the syllabus, and then discussion 1 and quiz 1 are due that week. And then over here, I tell you what you have to read from our textbook, and I also mention it's volume 1. And the brainstorming techniques is actually the PowerPoint, which you'll find in the writing tools module, and we're going to have a quiz over the writing tools module. And you should start discussion 2 this week, but discussion 2 is obviously not due until week 3. So again, I do follow the syllabus pretty closely. If anything changes, I go ahead and I update you through an announcement on Canvas. So make sure that you keep your syllabus and that you look at the schedule just to keep track of when assignments are due. I think it's great if you use the Canvas calendar, but you also want to go ahead and refer back to the syllabus as well. So thank you for listening to this rather long video of me going over the syllabus. I like to go over the syllabus in detail just in case you have any questions, and also because I really want you to get a sense of what the course is about and what we're going to cover and what the assignments are going to be. So in part 2 of this video, I am going to go over how to navigate the course. So I'm going to show you how the course is organized online and things like that.